We're going to be reinstalling the starter back on the 787 Rotax engine. Before we do this, I've gone ahead and put RTV on the head of the bolt where our ground cable connects. You can do this or use some dielectric grease. This is basically just to keep any moisture out and prevent any type of corrosion. Before we install it, it's also a good idea to lube the part that's going to slide into the hole with either some O-ring grease or some engine oil, and that's going to just ensure that it slides in nice and smooth. So we've gone ahead and done both those, and with the starter in place, we'll go ahead and install the upper and the lower number 6 Allen head bolts that hold the starter against the case. When you tighten down these bolts, you want to either make sure that the starter is fully engaged in the housing and there's no gap on either side, or alternate between tightening the upper and the lower so that it goes in straight. An air ratchet or an electric ratchet would really help at this point. Just make sure if you're going to go that route that you are very gentle with it. You don't want to get this cocked or crooked as you tighten it down, so just make sure you go easy on the trigger if you're going to do that. Now that we've got the upper and lower starter bolts installed, we'll go ahead and reinstall the plate that goes on the rear of the starter. This is also a number 6 Allen head. Now we'll go ahead and hook up the red wire, which is coming off our starter relay. Again, we're going to put either RTV on the head, or we can put dielectric grease around it. And again, this is basically to just make sure no water gets in between and starts to corrode, because if we get any type of corrosion here between the lead and the stud, there's going to be an increased resistance, which could eventually lead to the wires overheating because it's going to need additional current in order to push that through. So we'll just go ahead and put some RTV on. Now we'll go ahead and hook up the hose clamp that goes on the back of the upper starter bolt. We'll just slide that on, and then there's going to be a nut that goes on the back. And then once that's tight, the last thing we need to do is just hook up the ground wire back to our battery if you had that removed. I had it removed just because it was a lot easier to install back on the starter and get RTV'd while it was off the boat. If you do it while it's on the boat, that's fine too. But if it's disconnected, just go ahead and connect it, and then you're all ready to go.